What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, I want to speak on this kid. What's his name? Abdul Carter. Right. He was just drafted by the Giants, and he played at Penn State. He came out of Penn State, a very good linebacker. Out of Penn State, and so Abdul Carter wants to wear he wants to wear the number 56 for the Giants. Now, the first person I heard address this request from Abdul was the Chris Carter, ex-NFL Hall of Famer Chris Carter. And he gave one perspective. He said that Lawrence Taylor should have allowed Chris, this Abdul kid to wear his number and bring it out of retirement, because that would have been a good look for Lawrence Taylor. Then Lawrence Taylor probably would have been able to profit off of it because of jersey sales and stuff like that. So I said, all right, that's one way of looking at it, right? If Lawrence Taylor need money, or if he's interested in making money off of his jerseys and selling his merch like that, that's one way of looking at it, But then Stephen A. Smith said that, and let me just say that Lawrence Taylor said no. He said, no, don't do it. You can't wear my number. Don't bring my number out of retirement. Ain't no luck in that number for you. Establish your own number. And Chris Carter thought that was kind of like short-sighted and selfish of Lawrence Taylor. So whether you agree with Chris Carter or not, that's what his take is. And so he thought that Lawrence Taylor should really reconsider, and then so Stephen A. Smith had a whole different take on it. And I want to play what they said on First Take about this situation. And I'm kind of leaning toward what Stephen A. Smith said about it. I know Lawrence Taylor could have probably benefited from it in some way, but when you think of what Lawrence Taylor meant to football, and then you have somebody who was unproven, wanting your number. Let me play what Stephen A. Smith had to say on First Take.
Standout pass rusher Abdul Carter, selected 3rd overall by the Giants in this year's draft, is already setting lofty goals. Congrats on being a Giant, first of all. His first act as a Giant was to ask to wear 56, a retired number famously worn by Lawrence Taylor, arguably the best defensive player of all time, best New York Giant of all time. LT denied the request, saying that Carter could make his own mark. Dominique Foxworth back here, and Mike T as well. Stephen A., do you have a problem with Carter asking to wear LT's number?
Of course I do. Abdul Carter, I'm quite sure, is going to be sensational on the NFL level because we've seen his game in college. We respect him. But he's starting off his NFL career as maybe the most ignorant draft pick in history.
All right. So I agree that I think like Abdul Carter, he thought he was doing, like, that request was made out of respect. But when you think about like what he's unproven. I know that a lot of people think that it was out of respect for Lawrence Taylor. But Lawrence Taylor, in my opinion, and Stephen A. Smith is right, you have to make your own mark. I've seen people do this in basketball. They want to honor Michael Jordan, and they'll wear his number and stuff like that. But that just puts so much more pressure on you. And for you to be a new, unproven ball player, you kind of want to be able to you want to be able to focus on being the best ball player and be as great as you can be. And then that added extra pressure of wearing that number is something that, you don't want to have to deal with. Right. And so that's why I kind of disagree with Chris Carter, not from the standpoint of Lawrence Taylor benefiting from Abdul Carter, wearing his number, but you when you go after Michael Jordan, Lawrence Taylor, Tom Brady, and when you try to follow in those footsteps, it's it put more pressure on you. I remember when we used to play basketball, when I was young, the number that everybody wanted to get before Michael Jordan came along was like the best basketball players wanted to wear number 6. And that was Dr. J, right? And so if even at a young age, like I'm probably like about 10 years old, if you wore that number 6 and you wasn't good, you wasn't the best ball player on the team, you wasn't good, people would drag you. And so even at at 10 years old, you knew better than to ask the coach for the number 6 if you wasn't that dude on the team, or and then other teams will come after you if you wasn't, the best ball player. And that's at an early age. So now you're talking about somebody playing basketball playing football at a professional level, coming from college, not one snap in the NFL, and you want to wear a Lawrence Taylor jersey. I think somebody should have advised him, and told him, that's not a good idea. Carve your own path. What's the guy named Harold Miner? They was calling Harold Miner Baby Jordan, and when he didn't live up to those expectations, it just put more pressure on him. It'll cause you other people on it, other ball players will come at you, you think you Jordan, I'm gonna show you up. It just puts so much more pressure on you. Then when you don't live up to it, that's even more pressure. So I think Lawrence Taylor did this kid Abdul Carter a favor by telling him no. Carve out your own lane, because man, you can't. And that number, and I didn't think about this too, like that number, like what do? You retire the number? Like, say if Abdul Carter, have a good career, excellent career, close to what Lawrence Taylor did. So what, and if he want the number retired, then so what do you retire the number again? Or you have your number 56, you got 2 number 56s in the Raptors. I think that young people, it's not a lot of foresight that went into that request. Maybe somebody, if he had a consulted with somebody, in the organization, or somebody wiser, older and wiser, they would have told him like, nah, that's not a good idea. Carve out, get your own number, carve out your own number. When Michael Jordan came to the league, he didn't wear number 6. And I don't know what David Thompson number is, but Michael Jordan had his own number, 23. He carved out his own lane. Dr. J, he carved out his own name, his own, lane with his number. Magic Johnson, everybody know that at the Lakers, that's number 32, Magic Johnson. Larry Bird, number 33 for the Celtics. And just imagine, trying to put on a number 33 or number 32 with the Lakers or the Celtics. It's a lot of pressure, like now not even Paul Pierce, who I think I don't know if Paul Pierce won 1 or 2 championships with the Celtics. I think he won 1, maybe 2. Anyway, just imagine Paul Pierce, how much, like, people would look at him differently because he didn't win as much. He didn't have the type of career that Larry Bird had. So if he'd have wore that number, even though he had a successful career with the Celtics, if he'd have had that number 33 on, he'll still be, he'll still be catching backlash for that. That's just like with LeBron James. He said he wore number 23 because of LeBron. Because of Michael Jordan. And now he's, he is being compared to Michael Jordan every day. Like Mike is the GOAT, LeBron is the GOAT. And then, like Jordan fans not really buying that. and it's hard for LeBron James to fight that ghost of Jordan. So I think, like I said, he was done a big favor by Lawrence Taylor when Lawrence Taylor told him no, flat out no. Carve out your own lane. Get your own number. Ain't no luck in that number for you. And like Chris Carter was looking at it from the standpoint of Lawrence Taylor is more so being selfish, but ain't nothing wrong with even being selfish. Like you don't want nobody to have. Lawrence Taylor worked real hard to have that jersey retired, and then here comes somebody who hasn't done anything in the league, and you're going to give that to them. I agree with Stephen A. Smith and anybody who says that Lawrence Taylor should not have given him that number. I know that Warren Moon, there was a kid, I forgot the quarterback name, but a quarterback came along and he wanted Warren Moon's number, and Warren Moon gave it to him, right? Warren Moon, a cool dude, I think, but I think even then, I don't think Warren Moon should have let the kid for the Tennessee or wear his jersey. I don't think they should do it. Like once you retire a number, you retire that number for a reason. Like somebody have to do something really, really extraordinary or exceptional to get that number retired. And so even if you come along and you do something extraordinary and exceptional, you want to retire your own number. What's the purpose of re-retiring the number 56? So yeah, I think Lawrence Taylor did this dude Abdul Carter. He did him a favor by not and so a lot of people come through football and everybody want to be the next Lawrence Taylor. Look at Ray Lewis. Is like, what is Ray Lewis, number 52? Like if you go to the Baltimore Ravens and you want to wear that number 52, you putting you got to get, man, you probably got to sack a quarterback on every play in order to outdo Ray Lewis, man. You got to have an extraordinary career in order to outdo somebody like Ray Lewis, Lawrence Taylor, or any other great linebacker, man, that played in the NFL. You want to do your own thing in any sport. You want to carve out your own lane, focus on being the best thing, the best you can be. I couldn't imagine somebody coming to New England and say, yeah, I want to wear that number 12. This dude sitting on, he wearing like 7 Super Bowl rings, and you gonna holler, you wanna. I wouldn't need if I'm what's the kid in Kansas City? Like if I'm Patrick Mahomes, I wouldn't even want to, some kind of way Patrick Mahomes end up in New England. No way in the world I'm trying to wear that number 12. It's just you want your own, man. You want to have your own identity, carved out for yourself. And so Lawrence Taylor did this kid a favor. And so yeah, the reason why I didn't play that Stephen A. audio, the rest of that Stephen A. audio, was because it had music in it. And sometimes these people on YouTube, man, they kind of they if you play anything with music in it, it'll be a strike against you. So once I realized it had that music in it, I just cut it off. But yeah, so that's my take with the Lawrence Taylor, Abdul Carter situation. I think that, Lawrence Taylor did the right thing. With that being said, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also leave a comment, and I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.